Jesse Palmer's advice for hated Golden Bachelor Mel Owens. September 24th, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News fans. Jesse Palmer spent the early part of the summer hosting Bachelor in Paradise in Costa Rica. He returned to Los Angeles, California for Season 2 of The Golden Bachelor. The new season features former NFL player Mel Owens in his quest to find a love again after divorce. The problem is that viewers already hate Mel Owens after he made some offensive comments about dating women of a certain age. Jesse Palmer can relate to Mel Owens in several ways. He revealed the advice he gave the embattled Golden Bachelor lead. Jesse Palmer relates to Mel Owens on multiple fronts. Jesse Palmer has a lot in common with Mel Owens. While he's now the host of a reality show, Jesse Palmer was once a professional football player. He spent 5 seasons with the New York Giants. Mel Owens was part of the Los Angeles Rams for 9 seasons. Both former NFL players found success in other careers after leaving football. Jesse Palmer has made a name for himself in broadcasting. He replaced Chris Harrison as the host of various Bachelor Nation shows in 2021. Meanwhile, Mel Owens pursued a law degree after leaving the Rams and has been a successful lawyer for decades. Jesse Palmer has another unique connection with Mel Owens. Jesse was the Season 5 Bachelor lead. His relationship with his final rose winner didn't pan out, but hopefully Mel Owens has more luck. Jesse Palmer told Us Weekly that he and Mel are sort of cut from the same cloth a little bit more in terms of our backgrounds and what we thought we knew coming into this role. I'm a big fan of Mel. I have his football cards from the mid-'80s when I was 7 years old, the Bachelor host added. However, Jesse Palmer has never been the most hated man in America like Mel Owens. Jesse Palmer's advice for hated Golden Bachelor star. The initial excitement fans had about Mel Owens as the Golden Bachelor died quickly. During his first public comments after the announcement, the former football player said some pretty harsh things. He said that he preferred to date women between the ages of 45 and 60. The former NFL player said he would cut any contestant on the show that didn't fit that age range. His comments were met with immediate backlash. The premise of the Golden spinoff was for senior citizens in their 50s, 60s, or 70s to find love later in life. It also came out around this time that Mel Owens had to pay a lot of money to his ex-wife after their divorce. Jesse Palmer's advice to Mel Owens was, "You gotta be authentic and just be yourself." He later apologized for his comments. A preview from the first episode reveals that Jesse Palmer took Mel Owens to task immediately for the ageist comments. Mel seems remorseful, but is it too little, too late? The Golden Bachelor premieres tonight, Wednesday, September 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC. It streams on Hulu
Golden Bachelor
tomorrow.
franchise has always been about hope, second chances, and the idea that love doesn't expire just because you hit retirement age. But when Mel Owens took center stage as the new Golden Bachelor, America didn't swoon the way the producers expected. Instead, Mel became the most hated lead in franchise history. The criticism wasn't subtle. It was loud, sharp, and relentless. Fans questioned his motives, his sincerity, and even his ability to handle the whirlwind of emotions that comes with national television romance. Social media dubbed him Manipulative Mel. Commentators said he was playing old-school games with a modern audience. And by the third week, hashtags like #SendMelHome were trending. Enter Jesse Palmer, the suave host, the franchise's trusted anchor, and a man who has seen every messy corner of Bachelor Nation. He knew Mel was spiraling, and like an older brother, or maybe a coach in the locker room at halftime, Jesse stepped in with advice that could change everything. But would Mel listen? The first night of Mel Owens' Golden Bachelor season should have been magical. At 72 years old, he was charming on paper, A widower, a grandfather, a retired college professor with a surprising love for salsa dancing. His official bio described him as warm, witty, and ready for the kind of love that lasts forever. But when the limos arrived, something felt off. While previous Golden Bachelors like Jerry Turner had cried when meeting the women, Mel leaned back with his arms crossed, appraising them with the sharp eye of a talent scout rather than a romantic suitor. She looks younger than I expected, muttered when a woman stepped out in a glittering gown. Producers caught it on camera. The internet did not forgive him. By the time episode 2 aired, fans were already calling him condescending. His offhand comments about contestants' weight, his fixation on appearances, and his dry humor, which came off as mean-spirited, turned the audience against him. "I didn't think it was possible to hate a Golden Bachelor, but Mel makes it easy," one fan tweeted. Behind the scenes, Mel wasn't oblivious. He knew the women were wary of him, he knew the audience wasn't cheering for him, and he knew the pressure was building. Which is why Jesse Palmer found him alone one evening on the mansion balcony, nursing a glass of whiskey and staring into the California night. "Rough night?" Jesse asked, stepping outside. Mel gave a humorless chuckle. "Is it that obvious?" Jesse didn't sugarcoat it. "You're losing them, Mel. The women. The fans. This is supposed to be about connection, but right now, it looks like you're auditioning for an ego boost." Mel bristled. "I'm just being myself." And maybe that's the problem. This show isn't about proving you're the sharpest guy in the room. It's about opening up, being vulnerable. If you can't do that, people will never root for you. Mel sighed. Vulnerability. I don't even know what that means anymore. I buried my wife 6 years ago. I've survived more funerals than I can count. Vulnerability feels like weakness. Jesse leaned forward. "No, vulnerability is courage. That's what people want to see. Not perfection, not a tough exterior. They want to see a man who's willing to risk looking foolish for love." That night, Jesse planted the seed. But whether Mel would water it was another story. By week 4, tensions inside the mansion boiled over. Contestants began openly questioning Mel's sincerity. "He doesn't listen," one woman told producers. "He asks questions, but he's already thinking about his next line." Another confided, "I came here to meet a man who values women. Instead, I feel like I'm back in the 60s being judged for how I look in a dress." During a group date, the women confronted him. It wasn't subtle. "Mel, we need to know, are you really here for love or just for the cameras?" The moment was explosive. Social media clipped it, shared it, and the tide turned from quiet criticism to full-blown backlash. Memes painted him as Grandpa Gaslight. Even former Bachelor Nation stars began weighing in, with many saying Mel's season was hard to watch. Producers were in panic mode. Ratings were dipping. Something had to change. Jesse invited Mel to a private sit-down, away from the cameras. He laid it out plain. "Look, Mel, you're on the verge of becoming the villain of your own love story. And once that happens, there's no coming back. I've seen this franchise chew people up and spit them out. But I've also seen redemption arcs. If you want one, you need to take a step back and rethink everything." Mel crossed his arms. Redemption arc. Sounds like a producer's term. "It's a human term," Jesse countered. "Here's what you need to do. Apologize. Not the fake kind. A real one. Own the things you said that hurt people. Open up about your wife. That loss is shaping everything you do here, but you've buried it under sarcasm. Let people see that. Choose connection over control. Stop treating this like a classroom where you're the professor. These women don't need a lecturer. They need a partner. Let go of ego. You don't need to prove you're the smartest guy in the room. You need to prove you're capable of love." Mel was quiet for a long time. Finally, he asked, "And if I can't do that?" Jesse gave a half smile. "Then America will remember you as the Golden Bachelor who blew it." The next cocktail party was tense. Contestants expected the same old Mel. Distant, critical, cocky. But instead, he surprised them. He stood up, glass in hand, and said, "I owe you all an apology. I've been guarded. I've been judgmental. Truth is, I lost my wife 6 years ago, and I've been scared to open up ever since. I thought keeping my walls up made me strong, but I see now it just makes me lonely. You deserve better than that. I promise to do better starting tonight." The room went silent. Some women teared up. For the first time, America saw a crack in his armor. It wasn't perfect. Critics still doubted him, but it was a start. Week by week, Mel leaned into Jesse's advice. He stopped quipping at the women's appearances and started asking about their lives. He cried for the first time on camera when a contestant opened up about losing her husband. He admitted to feeling scared, inadequate, and even unworthy of love. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Fans who had once mocked him started tweeting things like, "Okay, I don't hate him anymore." By the time hometowns rolled around, Mel was no longer the villain. He was complicated, imperfect, but human. When the finale aired, it wasn't a fairy tale. Mel didn't drop to one knee with a diamond ring. Instead, he stood before his final woman and said, "I can't promise you forever yet, but I can promise you honesty, and if you'll take this chance with me, I want to see where it goes." Some fans were disappointed. It wasn't the sweeping romance they had hoped for, but others appreciated the honesty. And in the After the Final Row special, Jesse sat beside Mel and said, "You took a beating this season, but you grew. And in this franchise, growth is just as important as roses." Mel smiled. "I guess I finally understood what vulnerability means." Jesse Palmer knows Bachelor Nation better than anyone. He's seen heroes, villains, and train wrecks. But when he reflects on Mel Owens' season, he says this: "Mel's journey reminds us that it's never too late to learn. People can change, even at 72 years old. That's what love and life is all about." For fans, the season was messy, frustrating, and unforgettable. And for Mel Owens, the most hated Golden Bachelor, it was the season that taught him the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is put your heart on the line.